Hello, 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 and welcome back to Crush Cravings Before Diabetes Crushes You. So, in case you don't know who I am, I'm Karen Sammer. I'm a National Board Certified Health and Wellness Coach, and I primarily help people who are overweight and pre-diabetic, but are so overcome by cravings they can't seem to find a way to lose the weight permanently. So I help them to crush the cravings so that diabetes doesn't crush them. I help them crush the cravings, lose the weight, and avoid a lifetime of medication for diabetes and other medications as well. So let's just dig in today to what we're going to talk about. We are going to discuss the daily habits that you may or may not have that may cause you to have more cravings than you otherwise might. So you may actually be unwittingly adding to the problem. And you just don't know it. You don't know any better, and that's okay. So that's what we're here for. I'm here to help you to unravel some of these mysteries of life that we don't understand. What causes what we're doing, what causes cravings, what habits we may have that we're not even aware of. 90% of our behavior every day is habitual. So when you are going through your day-to-day, chances are pretty good you're on sort of automatic pilot with very few exceptions. So just so you know that, and you're not unusual when it comes to having these habits that you're not even aware of. All right, so let's start out. One of the habits that you may be probably have had for years, if you're not a breakfast eater, that may be a problem for you. So very often, or if you're eating something for breakfast that probably spikes your blood sugar, through the roof. So if you're not eating breakfast, and when you finally do break your fast, eat a meal, if you're eating something if you're eating too much, or if you're eating things that are just going to spike your blood sugar on an empty stomach, that very, very possibly sets you up for failure for the rest of the day. However, you can do intermittent fasting. You can choose to eat your breakfast later in the day, or break your fast later in the day. But when you do that, you want to be cognizant of what you're eating, and you want to make sure that what you're eating has plenty of protein and fat and fiber, things that are going to benefit you, the macronutrients that are going to benefit you throughout the day. You don't want to break your fast with a jelly donut or a handful of popcorn, or something that's just going to be something that's going to take care of you for the moment, but then what it does is it shoots your blood sugar through the roof, and then it crashes. So the better idea is to eat something. If you know that that's the way you're going to break your fast, if you don't eat a breakfast, then eat your breakfast at a regular breakfast time. When you get up, within a couple of hours of waking up. Now, my personal preference is when I get up in the morning, I don't eat. I'll have a green tea, or maybe hot water with lemon. And I won't eat probably until 10 or 11 o'clock. But that's a choice that I make. And then I have a decent sized breakfast, but I don't go crazy. And it has plenty of fat in it, protein, fiber, vitamins and minerals. It's got everything. I eat what for breakfast. Very often I will eat a flatbread that I've made myself. That's a high protein version of a flatbread. So it's usually gluten-free. In fact, it's always gluten-free when I make them. I make them with lentils and chia seeds and hemp seeds and flax seeds, ground up flax meal. Put them all together in a blender, add some water, add a little salt, blend it up really well. And then I just put it on a nonstick frying pan, and there's my flatbread. I bake or cook it for a little bit, maybe 5 minutes or so, and flip it over, cook it for a couple more minutes. Then I make avocado toast out of that, or an avocado wrap, if you will. It's because it's going to be kind of a wrappy thing. And I will put an egg on that, and that'll be my breakfast. And so it's got lots of protein, lots of fat, and it'll sustain me until usually dinner time. I might have a little bit of a snack in the middle of the day, but I don't really eat lunch. And then I'll have an early dinner, and I'll start my fast around 6 o'clock, between 5 and 6. So once I've had dinner, I won't eat again until I get up until the next morning when I eat at 10 or 11 o'clock. So I have a fairly significant fasting window every day. I sleep better that way. I feel better. When I wake up in the morning, I don't feel sluggish because my food didn't digest, because I had plenty of time after I ate before I went to sleep. And that works for me. It doesn't work for everybody, but it works for me. It works for several of my clients. And I find that to be the most sustainable way to eat for myself. I don't have to make many decisions because I eat 2 meals a day. Usually, say almost every day, I have pretty much the same thing. I may vary. Sometimes I'll put, instead of having the avocado and the egg on my flatbread, I'll use almond butter and cinnamon, and I'll put a bunch of fruit on it. So it's like an almond butter and jelly, or and fruit sandwich. But I'll put like berries, or I may slice up apples, or I may put maybe a slice of sliced up banana. And then I just roll it up and eat that. So those are things that I use for my breakfast, and they really sustain me through the day, because there's a lot of protein and fat in them, because that's what keeps you satisfied. If you're eating something that's mostly carbohydrates, you're probably going to be hungry later, much sooner than you would be otherwise. So the next thing is one of the things that will set you up for failure is not eating enough protein. And I just talked about the importance of protein. Protein gives you it does a number of things. Every cell in your body needs protein to survive. Your muscles need protein. Your brain needs protein. You need protein for sustainable energy, because it takes longer to digest protein. And so it will stay with you longer, and it provides a lot of nutritional benefit. So you want to make sure that you eat plenty of protein at every meal. And the general rule of thumb is 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So 70%, take the 70% of whatever your body weight is, and that's how many grams of protein you should eat a day. Now, if you're extremely overweight and that number is fairly high, I would keep it to 75 to 100 grams of protein a day. I wouldn't go much more than that, because it might be a little bit taxing on your kidneys. If you're drinking sugary coffee drinks, those milkshake type things, those latte, frappuccino, foamy things that have lots of sugar and a creamer or a sweetened lightener of some sort in the coffee, plus maybe some whipped cream, maybe some syrup on top, all of those things will spike your blood sugar and set you up for needing more sugar throughout the day. So if you are prone to drinking those things, if that is one of your habits, is stopping at Starbucks every day and picking up a big fluffy, foamy, chocolatey sweet thing, or caramel sweet thing, or strawberry frappuccino, or whatever the heck they have, those things are more like dessert. And I would highly recommend that you start cutting back on that and eventually stopping that, because those things, I think if you were to do there are sources of sugar content or just ingredients in some of those fast food kind of things that you can purchase. You can get the nutritional information. I believe by law they have to supply it if you want it, or you can find it online. But you will be amazed at the amount of sugar. There's enough sugar in one of those drinks, and very often, to exceed the number of grams of sugar you should have in a week. One of those beverages, and that to me is like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine. I don't drink them, and I don't even drink coffee anymore. But what I would recommend that you do is make your own at home. First of all, it's a lot less expensive, but you also can control what goes into it. And eventually, I would suggest that you start backing down on the sugar and the sweetened additives that you put into your coffee. And really, if you could get to the point where you drink black coffee, that's better for you. Coffee's not bad for you. It's got a lot of antioxidants in it. It's got other things that are beneficial. The caffeine is actually helpful in not large doses. It can keep you alert. It can help you to stay focused. But it's all of the stuff, all the junk that you put in it that causes it to be not a healthy drink. So definitely, I would suggest that you start backing off on those types of beverages and start making your own. And you don't have to go cold turkey, although cold turkey is not a bad thing to do when it comes to sugar, but it's unpleasant. So start backing off on it, and then you'll see that eventually, after you've done that for a while, where you've reduced the amount of sugar that goes into your beverage, if you have a taste of something like that again, it's so super sweet that you don't even like it. So trust me on this, because I used to be somebody who was really all about the sweets, And there are things that I couldn't even go near because they're so sweet that they make just one bite of it just kind of makes my stomach feel funny. Next one will be eating lots of sweets and refined carbohydrates. So refined carbohydrates are those things where all the fiber has been stripped out, usually in processed foods, replaced with chemicals to keep them fresh and give them a long shelf life. And they convert to sugar very quickly in your body, not to mention what the chemicals are doing. But just talking about the refined carbs themselves, the breads, the pastas, the cookies, the pastries, all of the things that I'm sure you don't want to listen to me anymore now at this point, but it's really important that you understand that when you eat those things, they convert to sugar very quickly in your body. So they spike your blood sugar. You have this influx of sugar going into your bloodstream. There's nothing there to stem the influx of sugar. There's no fat or fiber or protein to slow that down, so that you get this rush of sugar, and then when your blood, the blood sugar goes up and your insulin goes after it. By the time your insulin gets there, the blood sugar is starting to come down again. It just forces it to crash, and you go below equilibrium, and then you have these ebbs and flows, these ups and downs, these dips and spikes of blood sugar all day long, and eventually that leads to insulin resistance, because then finally your pancreas says, "I've had enough, I'm stopping," and doesn't do what it needs to do, or your cells don't allow the insulin in, and so you become insulin resistant, and you end up you end up starting out with metabolic syndrome, which is a number of different symptoms, leading to prediabetes and ultimately to diabetes. And that is completely preventable in very many cases. Developing type 2 diabetes is often a result of years of making the food choices that we've been making and eating things that are just impacting our blood sugar in such a major way every single day, multiple times a day, that you want to take stock of how you're eating and make sure that if you're eating refined carbs, they are not eaten alone. They're eaten with some source of fat or protein, that you eat something fibrous with them, and because that'll help to stem the influx of sugar into your bloodstream. But also really work towards eliminating or greatly reducing those types of foods, because they're not very nutritionally sound. There's not very much nutritionally positive about them. It's really, they're just there to calm a craving, and they're there to cause you to be addicted to them. And they are addictive because you always need to go back for more, and you never get that original rush that you got from the first time you had whatever it is. You're always looking for that. It's just like a drug addict, always looking for that original high, and you never get there. So you constantly have to feed the beast, because the more you do this, the more intolerant or more tolerant you become, and you require more to get even close to the same feeling, the same dopamine rush that you would have gotten from the original high. So next item is skipping meals. So skipping, the reason I skip lunch when I skip lunch, I often do, is because I eat such a late breakfast and I eat an early dinner. So my eating window is compressed. And then after I have dinner, I've had enough to eat for dinner that it keeps me happy for the rest of the night. I don't have any need to go back for snacking. And again, snacking, like evening snacking in front of the TV, that's a habit. That isn't something that you need to do. That's just a habit that you've developed over time. Who doesn't love to sit in front of Netflix with a bag of popcorn or something? And so we'll talk another time about habit stacking and changing habits and breaking old habits and introducing new ones.
Let's go back way on, way back when. I didn't even know you couldn't have been too much more than 10. I ain't no psychiatrist, I ain't no doctor with degrees, but it don't take too much time to see what you're doing to me. You better think about what you're trying to do to me, yeah. Think, let your mind go, let yourself be free. Oh, freedom, freedom, freedom.
when you skip meals, if you skip meals and you're starving, which makes you go back and just really gorge yourself for the next meal, that isn't beneficial. So you do want to eat. If you don't let yourself get so starving that nothing is safe around you, you want to make sure that you're eating enough at meals, and that if you need a little snack in between meals, have a little something that has plenty of protein in it or fat, maybe some hummus with veggies, so you get some crunch. You get the fiber from the hummus and the veggies. You get the protein from the hummus. You get the fat from the hummus if it's got tahini in it. And, it's something like that will sustain you without spiking your blood sugar. And that's really that's a win-win, because it'll keep your blood sugar level until your next meal. And then you can eat your next meal at a reasonable level. You won't have to gorge yourself because you're so starving. Next up is not eating enough fiber. So most Americans, or most people who follow a Western diet, do not get enough fiber. Your body needs between 25 and 30 grams of fiber a day. Most Americans are getting less than 5, especially if they're eating the standard American diet. And that's really bad for a number of things. It doesn't, you need fiber, both soluble and insoluble fiber, to keep things moving through your body, so that you can have regular bowel movements and you can clean out your colon. The soluble fiber helps to fluff up the waste so that it goes out easily. The insoluble fiber is like a scrub brush, and it kind of goes through your intestines and scrubs all that gunk out of there. And so they're both important. And as I said, we don't get enough of it in our diets, in our American diet. So it's really important to try to make sure that you do get plenty of fiber. It helps you to feel full longer, because fiber is not digestible. So it kind of hangs out in there for a while, and it keeps you feeling fuller longer. It also helps to manage cholesterol, because when you have soluble fiber, yes, it helps to move cholesterol through your bloodstream and get it out of there, and keeps you want the good cholesterol to kind of hang around and do its job, but the bad cholesterol it escorts it out of your body. So those things, eating enough fiber, eating things vegetables, fruits, things that have plenty of fiber in them. I don't recommend fiber supplements unless you can't possibly get enough fiber in your body. But if you need to supplement with some sort of fiber supplement, then go for it. But my recommendation is to get it through natural foods. How about a sedentary lifestyle? When you are not moving around, your blood sugar gets all wonky. Our bodies are meant to move. They're meant to work. And the blood sugar gets all wonky. It goes high, and it also causes, when you're sitting all the time, very often that can cause cravings. It can be the cause of many issues, because like I said, we're not meant to be sedentary. But when you're moving around, when you're getting some exercise, even if you're just going for a walk, which is good exercise for you, it helps to stabilize your blood sugar. And taking a walk after a meal, especially if you're somebody who tends towards the high blood sugar, taking a walk after a meal helps to regulate it. So it is important to, anytime you eat, if you get up and move around, that'll help you to keep yourself at an even blood sugar level. So you don't have to go out and do calisthenics 4 times a day. You can get up and walk around your house. If you work from home, I think this is a big problem when you're remotely working. If you're very busy, you could sit in front of your computer all day long. But what I do recommend is that you drink lots of water, because then you have no choice but to get up several times a day, because you'll have to go to the bathroom. And so that helps to make sure that you don't sit for several hours without moving. But just get up and move around, dance, put a little music on, dance in between meetings or whatever. Just do a little moving, just kind of shake your body out, stretching. Like I said, you don't have to go out and do calisthenics, but when you can, take a walk, or just do maybe some lunges or some squats, or do, like I said, some stretching, do some yoga poses, things that get your body moving a little bit. It doesn't have to be strenuous, and it doesn't have to be a large chunk of time. Another thing that impacts your blood sugar negatively is lack of sleep. If you are not getting enough sleep, there are several things at play here. It does it does make it your body inefficient in using your, or not inefficient, actually efficient. It stores blood sugar. So what it happens is it spikes your blood sugar if you don't get enough sleep. But on top of that, your hunger hormones are dysregulated. So that means that your ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone, is in overdrive, and your leptin, which is your satiety hormone, falls asleep. So you're not feeling full, and you're always feeling hungry, and they're out of whack when your sleep is dysregulated. So it's really important to get yourself on a sleep schedule every single day. You should be on the same sleep schedule every single day. The weekend should be the same as during the week, and you should be getting between 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. And most of us don't. Again, in America, most of us are sleep deprived. And driving around while you're sleep deprived is worse than driving drunk sometimes, depending on how much sleep deprivation you are suffering from. So just keep that in mind. You're putting yourself at risk. You're putting anybody in your car at risk. Anybody in other cars at risk. And not only that, but you're setting yourself up for possible diabetes, among other things. There's so many other things that sleep deprivation causes. But we'll go into that another day. And how about excess stress? So stress is something, it spikes your cortisol, which spikes your blood sugar. It causes you to stress eat. It causes you to lose sleep. Stress is really it's a maybe not so silent killer. Stress contributes to a lot of illness in our bodies. It causes inflammation, which contributes to diabetes. It contributes to heart disease. It contributes to cancer. It contributes to all sorts of things. So managing your stress is really important. When I work with my clients, one of the things we do, it's not just about the food. In fact, hardly any of it is about the food. It's about all the other stuff. We do talk about food, of course, but there's so many other components in your life that cause you to eat the way you do. And not necessarily the need for some particular type of food. It's really what are the circumstances around it. And stress is a huge contributor to poor eating habits. So learning how to manage your stress, whether it's through meditation, through mindfulness, through exercise, talking with a friend, just asking for help, that is a huge thing. Asking someone to help you, having healthy boundaries so people can't constantly breach your boundaries, because somebody else's emergency is not yours. And although there are circumstances where that emergency does become yours. For instance, when your kid gets hurt. But when you are constantly under unrelenting stress, your body never shuts down from it. And it causes you to have all sorts of reactions, and one of them is sugar cravings. Because your body is in fight or flight. And when that happens, you need sugar for energy, quick energy. So your body says, let me find something that's going to give me enough energy to run away from this tiger. But the tiger never goes away in our lives. The tiger's always there. And our body doesn't know if it's running from a tiger or running from a deadline or running from some sort of emergency. It doesn't know that. All it knows is something is causing me to feel endangered. I need energy. Give me something quick and fat and sweet so that it goes directly to my bloodstream and allows me to run away from whatever this danger is. So managing stress is a huge help in making sure that your blood sugar is not negatively impacted. And then finally, being dehydrated. When you're dehydrated, all sorts of things go on in your body. Your brain doesn't work well. Your muscles don't work well. Your organs don't function well. So making sure that you're fully hydrated every single day is really important. And you'll find, at least this has been my experience, and I think you would find it as well, when you are fully hydrated, you have much more energy. You're less likely to fall asleep and be sleepy during the day. And very often, thirst masquerades as hunger. So that when you feel like you might need something to eat, even though you've had a full meal, or it's been not too long since you had a full meal, that you probably shouldn't be hungry, it's very likely that you're thirsty. So try drinking a glass of water before you go and try to find something to eat that might not be the best choice for you, and see if that doesn't help to satisfy you a little bit. But staying fully hydrated means that you should work your way up, if you're not drinking a lot of water now, but work your way up to drinking half your body weight in ounces of water. So if you're a 150-pound person, you should be drinking 75 ounces of water a day. And you can work your way up to that, because it is sometimes difficult to go from 0 to whatever that number is for you. But really, it's important that you get plenty of fluid, plenty of water. Sources of water would be herbal tea, besides just plain water. Although plain water, the majority of it should be plain water. But herbal tea, not sweetened things. Water with lemon or water infused with other fruits. In my house, I have a big jug that I fill every morning with ice and frozen strawberries, a couple of frozen strawberries, and I pour water in that. And it has a spout on it. So anybody who wants to drink something, needs some water during the day, they have that flavored water, nice and cold, and they're much more likely to drink it because it's right there in front of them. All they have to do is flip the spout and put it in their water bottle or their container. And they stay hydrated. And I stay hydrated because it's right there in front of me. So these are little tricks that you can do. But, if you don't like plain water, like I said, infuse it with fruit, or you can drink an herbal tea, a non-caffeinated, a caffeine-free, not decaffeinated, caffeine-free herbal tea. And there are many out there that are lovely. I love an herbal tea at night, especially in the wintertime. That keeps me nice and warm, and it's relaxing. I drink tea all day long. What I do is I have this gigantic mug that I put one green tea bag in, and I fill it all day long. I think I drink a half a gallon of that. But by the time I'm at the end of it, it's almost just water because it's fully diluted. It's one tea bag. This mug is using this mug one time would more than use up one tea bag because I think it's like a 28-ounce mug. But these are things these are tips that you can try to help to quell your sugar cravings and to make sure that you are making the decisions that are going to best serve you, so that you're not eating things that you're going to regret later, that are going to make you feel bad, and that are going to spike your blood sugar. So for today, that will be it. Again, I'm Karen Sammer, National Board Certified Health and Wellness Coach, and you've been listening to Crush Your Cravings Before Diabetes Crushes You. And I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.